Every year in the Nevada desert, almost 70,000 people attend an event in Black Rock City called the Burning Man Festival. Now, I'm not as hip as these cool young people today, but apparently what goes on there is art, food, fun, drugs, alcohol, and orgies, and basically a freedom of expression. It's almost like the Bohemian Grove for the public. At the end of the ceremony, they light this giant effigy of a man on fire, and after all the fun is had, they go back to their normal everyday lives. But this year at the Burning Man Festival is a little different, as they are not having fun and they cannot go back to their everyday lives. Because between Friday and Saturday morning, this remote event site in northwest Nevada was hit with 2 to 3 months worth of rain in just 24 hours. These heavy rains swamped the annual Burning Man Festival, leaving thick, ankle-deep mud. Attendees were told to shelter in place in the Black Rock Desert and conserve food, water, and fuel. Now, of course, these heavy muds are going to strand some vehicles, but some of these people are not going to take their chances. They're going to go ahead and hike to the nearest towns. But as they were hiking, they were told they can't leave. Nobody's allowed to go in or out of the Burning Man Festival. Really weird that these people are in a very dire situation. They are surrounded by mud. Who knows if it's going to rain again? They are low on food, fuel, and water. So of course you're going to want to take your chances and leave. But no, nobody's allowed to leave. Now I get they don't want everybody storming out with all this mud, and it might cause a lot of chaos and people being stuck inside the mud. It may cause a lot of trampling and a lot of deaths. But as the food and water get lower and lower, and as it runs out, people are really going to start to panic. And then chaos is really going to ensue. So the question is, why are they locking these people inside? Why are they stopping anybody from coming inside? Well, apparently reports is that Ebola and some other diseases are breaking out in this Burning Man Festival, and they are containing everybody. Now, big media has said they fact-checked this. Now, I find it odd that big media has fact-checked this and said there is no Ebola breaking out. But how do they know this? If nobody can go in or out of the Burning Man Festival, how do they know that there is no Ebola breaking out? Because there are multiple reports from multiple people tweeting out that people are sick. People are throwing up. People are falling over. And the CDC tweets out that there is Ebola breaking out in the Burning Man Festival. And then the tweet is deleted. But some people actually happened to catch the tweet in time before it was deleted. And then after it was deleted, big media came out and said, we fact-checked this. There is no sources to prove that the CDC said Ebola is breaking out at the Burning Man Festival. Now, so far it has been confirmed that one person has died at this Burning Man Festival. And I am sure that number is higher because you cannot trust big media. And to know why you can't trust big media, all you have to do is look at Maui. They're still confirming that only 115 people have died in the Lahaina fires, even though the residents have confirmed that it's close to over 2,000. Their morgues are filled. They cannot fill any more people in those morgues. Bodies are washing ashore. Over 1,000 children alone are either missing or have died. And oddly enough, 15 school buses are also reported to be missing. So do with that as you will.
The bay into the harbor area, what they didn't realize is that the wind was so strong, it immediately began to take them out to sea. And it's not being reported right now in the news, but on a neighboring island of Lanai, they found 183 bodies washed ashore there. And there's 800 as of today reported missing. There are many hundreds that are being refrigerated right now, trying to get ID. They're asking people on the island to provide their DNA so they can match DNA to others. But outside the media, they're expecting this to reach almost 2,000 people.
But like I said, when it comes to Maui, you cannot trust big media. So why would we trust big media to report what's going on at the Burning Man festival. There's also reports of cannibalism. There's been several unconfirmed reports of cannibalism taking place on Saturday at the Burning Man due to dwindling food supply. A small group of survivors that were trapped by the trash fence overnight during the rainstorm were forced to consume one of their campmates before making the several-mile dangerous trek back to their camp on foot. There's also supposedly satirical tweets coming out of people eating the rich, people eating a billionaire, Brian Johnson, and posting his body online. Now, so far, this is only satire, but I did learn a lot when it comes to humor and comedy. Humor and comedy is to sweep something under the rug, so when something serious is going on, they will break out comedy to downplay it. We saw this a lot with a certain gated pizza. SNL would do skits and make fun of it, making it look like it's all one big joke. So if there is a major disease in the Burning Man festival and people are dropping like flies, people are very sick and they're being forced to not leave, it's going to look like satire too, because there's a lot of humor surrounding this already. Now they're saying this is only just a rumor, but people are reporting on the ground that people do have boils, they're vomiting, they're hemorrhaging. There was even a text from somebody at the Burning Man festival saying, "Yo, I figured you should hear from me first. Daryl is crazy sick with something that has him coughing up really coagulated blood. Medics showed up wearing a full suit." Now, even though this is just a rumor, it makes a lot more sense, especially if they're telling people you cannot go in or out of this location. So now it really starts to add up. Now, some people were actually allowed out of the Burning Man festival. They were allowed to leave. Chris Rock, Diplo, and Dua Lipa. So the celebrity elite were allowed to leave. But if you're not a celebrity, you better bunker down. And if you're out of food and water, you're basically SOL. Because as of right now, you're not going nowhere. On top of everything else, the disease is only going to get worse because the porta potties are filled, they're full. So what people are actually finding themselves having to do is dig a hole in the ground, take a dump, and then cover it back up. But whatever they cover back up is traveling due to the water and the mud. And on top of this, you have 70,000 people doing this because there's nowhere to go to bathroom. I can see if it was one or two people stranded in this situation, but no, the feces and urine of 70,000 people in one location. Of course, a major disease is going to break out on top of whatever has already broken out. The dirt is also alkaline, so anybody stepping on this with their bare feet, the moisture is going to be taken out of their feet. Their feet are going to dry up, they're going to crack, leaving a lot of room for infections. One also has to ask, this event was going on in Black Rock City since 1991. Has it ever rained there before? Has there ever been bad rain during this festival? Because it looks like this is the first and only time a real bad rainstorm has happened during this time at this festival, and people were not prepared. Now, as I'm making this video, there are reports coming out of people leaving the Burning Man festival. They are hiking on foot. But then there are other reports coming out and people coming out and stating they are trapped in there. The gates are closed. They are surrounded. There are medical personnel there in full hazmat suits telling them they cannot leave. In a situation like this, it's very hard to know what to believe because, again, all one has to do is look back at Lehana Maui, where residents were being told they were forced to go back into the fires. They were barricaded. They could not leave out of any roads that led them to safety, that led them away from these fires. Police and these weird utility vehicles were stopping them from leaving the only roads out of town. Police Chief John Peltier said, no, nobody was blocking these roads. And the mass media were backing their story up. The mass media were saying, police were not blocking these people from leaving. And then residents, little by little, were releasing video footage that police were indeed blocking their exits out of town. It's a really sad day that you cannot turn to the news to find out the truth of any tragic event that's going on in this country. The only people you can turn to for the truth are the actual residents, are the actual people experiencing these tragedies. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.